Marvel's universe is filled with villains, but not all of them stayed in the spotlight. Some were strange experiments, forgotten criminals, or bizarre threats that vanished into obscurity. Today, we're diving into those shadows to uncover 10 Marvel villains you probably haven't heard about in years. If you enjoy discovering these hidden corners of comics, make sure to hit the like button, leave a comment with your favorite, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us bring more of these forgotten stories back to life. Brothers Grimm began as enchanted mannequins linked to the mind of Nathan Dawley, later inherited by Percy and Barton Grimes. They conjured bizarre objects from their costumes, from explosive eggs to choking smoke, and rode clouds like stepping stones in the sky. They became members of Night Shift, working in shadows with other misfits. Their strangeness made them memorable, though rarely used in major Marvel arcs. They were not cosmic threats, but instead oddities that brought surreal danger. Their arsenal of twisted toys created a unique menace against street-level heroes. What kept them alive in memory was their theatricality, turning every fight into a stage of horror and comedy. Though long forgotten, Brothers Grimm proved that even the strangest gimmicks can leave a lasting scar on Marvel's underworld. Egghead was Elias Starr, a government scientist disgraced by corruption and smuggling. His fall from grace pushed him into crime, where his brilliance became a weapon against Ant-Man. He built gadgets, manipulated technology, and recruited criminals into groups like the Masters of Evil. His battles were less about brute force and more about outsmarting his enemies. Egghead's mind was both his curse and his deadliest tool. Though mocked for his appearance, he nearly killed Hank Pym and tormented the Ant-Man legacy for years. His obsession with revenge and his arrogance ensured his downfall, yet his schemes showed how intellect alone could terrify even the strongest hero. Forgotten compared to cosmic villains, Egghead embodied the human danger of unchecked ambition. He proved that not all monsters wear masks or wield magic. Dread Knight was Bram Velsing, once loyal to Dr. Doom, until betrayal sealed his fate. Doom fused a mask to his face as punishment, and the disfigured scientist turned into an armored knight of vengeance. Armed with a power lance, maces, and toxins, he rode the winged Hellhorse, bringing medieval terror to modern battles. His gothic presence made him both tragic and fearsome, blending past and future in combat. Though often overshadowed, Dread Knight's mix of science and sorcery left lasting impact. He joined groups like the Masters of Evil, always lurking as a loyal blade to greater powers. His cursed mask and burning hatred gave him depth beyond a mere henchman. Forgotten by many, he stands as one of Marvel's most dramatic figures, a fallen knight seeking glory through destruction. Hypno Hustler was Antoine Delsoin, a flashy performer who weaponized music. His guitar and band equipment emitted hypnotic waves, trapping audiences under his control. His boots carried blades and knockout gas, making him a bizarre foe for Spider-Man. Though ridiculed for his disco theme, his power over minds was no joke. He showed how art and crime could blur into something unsettling. While mocked as a product of his era, Hypno Hustler embodied the risk of manipulation through entertainment. His stories reminded readers that control can come wrapped in rhythm and charm. Despite his campy style, he remains a symbol of Marvel's willingness to experiment. Long ignored, he has cult status among fans who treasure the weird corners of the Spider-Man mythos. White Rabbit was Lorena Dodson, a wealthy woman bored with her privileged life. Inspired by Alice in Wonderland, she turned fantasy into crime. With rocket boots, explosive carrots, and a deadly umbrella, she terrorized the streets in whimsical style. She even commanded robotic rabbits and piloted the Bunnymobile, making her both ridiculous and dangerous. Her eccentric flair earned her a place among Marvel's strangest. She often clashed with Spider-Man and minor heroes, sometimes joining villain groups for chaotic fun. Recently, she was turned into a vampire, adding horror to her already bizarre persona. White Rabbit reflected Marvel's playful side, where satire met real danger. Though rarely taken seriously, her creativity stood out, showing that even absurdity can create fear when unleashed in the wrong hands. Count Nefaria was Lucino Nefaria, a nobleman tied to the Magia crime syndicate. At first, he relied on wealth and influence, plotting through technology and hired muscle. Later, experiments granted him ionic powers, making him nearly immortal. With strength, energy blasts, and invulnerability, he evolved from crime boss to powerhouse. He became a nightmare for the Avengers and Iron Man, wielding both cunning and raw might. Though less famous than cosmic warlords, Nefaria was deadly in his own right. His rise from mafia lord to ionic terror showed ambition's true cost. Father to Madame Mask, he left a legacy of corruption and violence. Forgotten by many, his story bridged street crime and superhuman dominance. Nefaria remains proof that power, once seized, only breeds greater hunger. Jester was Jonathan Powers, a failed actor who turned humiliation into crime. Bitter at the world that rejected his talent, he reinvented himself as a villain. He mastered acrobatics, fencing, and showmanship, wielding weapons disguised as toys and stage props. His battles with Daredevil blended tragedy and absurdity, reflecting a man desperate for recognition through fear. His colorful madness made him unpredictable. Though not as grand as world destroyers, Jester embodied obsession's dark path. His reliance on trickery over power forced heroes to face creativity twisted into crime. He was a mirror of wasted potential, a man who could have been celebrated on stage but chose infamy instead. Forgotten now, he still lingers as a symbol of how fragile ambition can corrupt. Metal Master hailed from the planet Astra, a being with the gift of absolute control over metal. He could bend, reshape, or animate any metallic object with ease, making him a nightmare opponent. His abilities overwhelmed heroes like the Hulk, showing how dangerous elemental mastery could be. Though alien, his motives were often personal, driven by arrogance and hunger for dominance. Despite his power, Metal Master never became a headline villain. His appearances were rare, often sidelined after brief clashes. Still, his capacity to command one of Earth's most vital resources made him terrifying. Forgotten in Marvel's lore, he represents the threat of simple powers in extraordinary hands. Metal Master was proof that even limited concepts could inspire fear. Achebe was a cunning revolutionary who rose from betrayal and ruin. Once a farmer, he lost everything to guerrilla fighters, surviving with scars both physical and mental. Turning to manipulation and politics, he became a sworn enemy of Black Panther and Wakanda. His intellect and cruelty gave him power without superhuman gifts. Achebe thrived on schemes, using chaos to climb. He was not a warrior of strength, but a puppeteer of nations. Through lies, terror, and strategy, he destabilized Wakanda and challenged T'Challa's rule. Achebe showed that villains need not rely on fists to strike hardest. Though rarely remembered, he remains a chilling example of ambition cloaked in faith and fury. His absence today only deepens the unease of his legacy. Blood Tide emerged from the ocean depths, tied to Atlantean conflicts and marine terror. With powers over water and sea life, he represented a darker side of Marvel's aquatic stories. As a member of the Fathom Five, he clashed with heroes during undersea wars. His existence highlighted the forgotten threats lurking beneath the waves, away from surface dwellers' eyes. Though his role was small, Blood Tide carried the potential for greater tales. He embodied fear of the unknown ocean, a realm few heroes dared explore. Unlike Namor's nobility, Blood Tide embraced destruction, bringing dread from the abyss. Long lost in Marvel history, he symbolizes how even the sea holds villains waiting for rediscovery. Forgotten yet fascinating, he remains a shadow beneath the tide. That wraps up our look at 10 forgotten Marvel villains that deserve a place in the spotlight again. Thanks for watching and spending time with us on this journey through comic history. Don't forget to drop a like, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more hidden gems from the Marvel Universe.